Hello, my name is Dina Bailey, and I'm the CEO of Mountaintop Vision. As a consultant, I have been working with the California Association of Museums to develop CAM's Equity Action Plan. Getting started can be overwhelming. Many people recognize that systems of oppression and exclusion exist, and they are philosophically committed to change. But putting those convictions into practice can feel scary and frustrating and full of traps. For some, the risks seem very high and the rewards seem very uncertain. That is why the CAM Equity Advisory Committee has developed a series of 5 videos. They are meant to focus on the how of getting started with the process of developing an equity action plan. In this video, video number 2, we will be focusing on preparing to facilitate focus groups. Number 1, one of the first things you should establish is who, generally, you would like to have participate in focus groups. You can develop the specific invites later, but first think about who you need to hear from and how it might be best to hear from those folks. For example, you might be thinking specifically about racial equity or those who are underserved within your town or a specific age group or those who are not members. It's okay to prioritize voices that are missing or underrepresented. Then think about what would make those feel more welcome and safer to engage with you. It might be that you physically come to them, or that you only talk to one person at a time, or that you provide childcare. Number 2, make sure that you have a way to compensate those in the focus groups for their time and labor. I recognize that not everyone can budget large sums for each participant, but you should acknowledge the time and effort that they are making. Money, gift cards, etc., are often used. Some participants might also appreciate a free membership or free tickets or discounts to an upcoming program. Whatever you are able to provide, make sure that it is actually seen as valuable to your participants. You might ask a few potential folks what would be beneficial. Also, there might be some people who would rather donate the honorarium back to your organization or donate forward somewhere else. Try to create different avenues for participants to utilize their agency. Number 3, consider accessibility as you create your focus groups. There may need to be multiple days, multiple times, and multiple platforms for your work. Some participants might not have computers available and would prefer paper and pen surveys. Others would like surveys that they can do on their own time. Others would like live engagement. Some work nights or Saturdays. Some days should not be considered due to religious observance. Be sensitive to the diversity of needs and preferences that your potential participants will have. You can't accommodate everyone all the time, but you can be intentional about removing as many barriers to participation as possible. Number 4, remind folks of expectations and parameters before, during, and after each engagement. For example, you might want to have people sign a commitment to confidentiality and tell people what that means for the information they provide you. I would also recommend that you create guiding principles or group agreements for your time together. Think about how you expect everyone to show up in the collective space with each other. There might be some things that you've deemed off limits, or you might want to give a heads up about the themes and questions you'll be asking. Tell folks before the experience, repeat it during the experience, and remind them after the experience. I've provided an example of guiding principles here. Be open and curious. Check your assumptions. Be patient. Slow yourself down. Commit to being in the editing phase. just means you don't have to have everything thought out and said exactly the way that you wish it could be said. Try to acknowledge your feelings. Recognize the difference between intention and impact. Be open to changing your mind. Be present. Actively participate. Actively listen. And stories stay, lessons leave. That just means you don't have the right to share someone else's story, but you can talk about the general things that you learned from your experience. All right, number 5. As you prepare your questions, think about the breadth and depth of answers that you would like. It might be that you have a narrow but deep focus, or that you want to learn a little bit about a lot of things. As you develop your questions, consider the order of them. Think about creating an arc so that there are easy questions that get perhaps more vulnerable or complex and then get easy again. You also want to develop questions that are open-ended, are not leading, and are clear. Don't ask too many questions at once, stacking them, unless you want participants to use them as inspiration for discussion rather than providing direct answers to each question. When you create open-ended questions, you allow the opportunity for participants to give you a variety of answers. Remember that you don't need to come to a consensus. Your goal is to hear as many points of view as possible. Everyone's thoughts are valuable. Before we move into the reflection questions, let me go over those top 5 tips again. Determine who you would like to have participate in focus groups. Make sure that you have a way to compensate those who participate. Consider accessibility as you create your focus groups. Remind folks of expectations and parameters before, during, and after each engagement. Think about the breadth and depth of the answers you would like to gather. All right, for the reflection questions. How have you created clear expectations and boundaries for the discussion? Have you provided various ways for people to receive the prompts? For example, slide deck, vocalizing the questions, and/or pasting them into the chat box? Have you provided various ways for people to participate? For example, speaking out loud, writing to everyone in the chat, and/or writing directly to the facilitator in the chat? Have you considered what to do if there are challenges within the collective space? Dissension, dominant voices, power dynamics, getting off topic, etc. How will you build trust within the first few minutes? And how will you build trust as you close out? Could be guiding principles, introductions, call to action, etc. All right, for more information about CAM's racial equity statement, please visit the website that I've provided on this slide. For more information about CAM's equity action plan, please visit that link from the slide. For more information about CAM, go to www.calmuseums.org. And for more information about Mountaintop Vision, go to www.mountaintopvisionllc.com. Best wishes for your journey, everyone.